This presentation will explore how we all need to act now to democratize AI to ensure the inclusivity and equal justice in its development. Furthermore, why it is important to foster its growth, where the benefits of AI are shared widely and accessible to everyone. Our presenters are eager to hear your views on the subject of AI as a student, faculty, staff, or member of the public. It's invaluable as we explore the challenges and opportunities of AI regulation. So, welcome.
Thank you, Kara, and thank you to the Democracy Days Committee, my colleagues and all of you here for being here and giving me this opportunity. And thank you for my co-presenter, who's going to be doing, I'm going to say the better half of AI in education. So, democratizing AI is a mouthful. And how did I come to, first of all, AI? It was three things that happened to me in 2023. I was called, I'm one of the peer reviewers for Higher Learning Commission. And this commission is what accredits colleges around this region, not just Missouri. And we were all called to a Zoom meeting, and I was surprised that they were telling us about AI tools and why not to use it. And especially ChatGPT, which is based on large language model. And one of the concerns was that as reviewers, we should be using these tools to put the data in from institutions that we were assessing, because it's breach of confidentiality. And the more I listened, I realized that it's a vast database that anyone can dive in. Dive is a word that you'll find on ChatGPT all the time. So they can dive in and get what they want. So I became very conscious of that, but at the same time, I was teaching 2 online classes and realized that my students were really writing those discussion posts beautifully. It was not just good writing, but scholarly writing. So I kind of got a little, I wouldn't say concerned as much as inquisitive about how they were able to do this. And then after attending this Zoom meeting, I put 2 and 2 together. But meanwhile, I was also reading these 2 books I'm going to share with you, Raised with Technology and What AI Can Do for You. The AI Needs You. And both of those books are very powerful in terms of how you can use AI, but also use it responsibly. So that influenced me. And so I kind of also gathered the information that many researchers out there were using AI and providing references for those. So why should I prevent my students from using AI? But I really wanted some responsibility here, because even I use AI, I admit, but how do I use it? So with all of this going on, and with the fact that I realized AI is everywhere, it has been, I really thought of democracy, because democracy and the democratic process involves all of us, right? Because this is almost the 3rd day of Democracy Days, and having lived here in this country with democracy and freedom, we all know what it is. Same thing applies to this process that has taken over all aspects of our lives. It's not just one area or the other. It's everywhere. So, I know this one's cheesy, but I said to myself, ask not what AI can do for you, but ask what you can do for AI. Because AI is molded by us. The technocrats Democrats don't have all the skills. They know how to put it together. But if you don't get it, the algorithms will get us. And I'm not here to create fear, but awareness. Fear doesn't go anywhere. It just creates more problems. So, then came this idea that democracy and its process should be applied to this process as well. Democracy is nothing more than, I'm not going to teach to the choir, is about all of us. Am I going in and out? Oh, this is better, I think. So democracy is about us, and it's driven by us. And as we elect our leaders, and we're going to soon, we become responsible because what we do will come back to us. So what is democracy? I hope you chose the image of the little beautiful lamb as your idea of democracy. And with that comes what is AI. AI as a terminology is new, but artificial intelligence itself has been around for a long time. It's more than 2 decades ago that one of my husband's friends, he was a physics student, said he's going to take up AI as his elective or something like that. And I was just a budding psychologist at that time and didn't know much about any. I wasn't a good student as well. I shouldn't be saying it here, but I became better. But anyway, I was thinking, Frankenstein, what is he going to do with artificial intelligence? My husband is a chemist. So I'm thinking, oh, they're going to concoct something. But today we know artificial intelligence is simulated human intelligence, driven by technology, and especially computers and the chips. I don't claim to know much about that. So AI has been everywhere we have been, that's for sure. We just became aware of that, at least people like me. So what is the origin of AI? It's going to be brief. I'm not going to go into the deep history, artificial intelligence emerged in England, according to Dr. Turing, and it was a subfield of computer science and used mathematical concepts and logic. Then came the name AI, which is very American. It was at a conference in Dartmouth, New Hampshire. So from the beginning, people who were driving this wanted it to solve problems. Today I know it's gaming, everything is driven by AI. And Eliza was the early model that actually performed with natural language. And then came Shaky, our first mobile robot. That takes me back to my student days when we were taken for a field trip to a computer center. This was in India. And we entered this dark room with these large things that looked like robots. And the room was dark and cool. I thought one of those things is going to come and get me because I wasn't such a good student. But anyway, those were the early versions of AI. But then AI got into a deep freeze, or the AI winter. And from the 1970s onwards, there was not much funding. Just like we go through the space program here, I hope they continue until they bring their astronauts back home. But AI went through the same thing on the computer science area. And in the 1980s, there was a resurgence. The focus was on making computers that would make decisions that looked like human decisions. And many of you, I don't know, you all look really young, but IBM produced the Deep Blue that actually defeated Garry Kasparov, the famous chess player. And of course it will, because Kasparov is human, he's going to err. Not all of his moves are going to be perfect. But what got into AI is all the right moves. From 2010 onwards, there was a real fast move towards developing a lot of AI-driven models that actually mimic neural networks. I teach psychology and that's my field. I know the memory process involves neural network in humans. I have at least 80 billion neurons in me. It's 80 to 200 billion neurons in each of us. And can you imagine what goes into this wide system database that AI is using? Unbelievable amount of memory. So where did the data come from? Your life. Bang, it became algorithm, and it came back to us as a sassier, more diabolical version of us. It is us. As we freely contribute to this database, AI is becoming larger than life. And the machine-generated neural networks is amazing. I'm amazed every day by what it can do. I'm not here to put down AI. I can't afford to. I depend on it. But AI depends on us too. So it's called the fourth industrial revolution by some. With each revolution, humans actually got better and better in their lives. For example, electricity. Then all the industrial revolution that happened, we can have clothes that we don't need at all, or clothes that can last us forever. Can you imagine hand-sewn things that we have to wear? People are craving for those times. But there's a price to pay. And you can bring your ideas, please. But to me, what came to the surface is data privacy and human relevance. I do Amazon shopping, I have Netflix, my Alexa constantly keeps telling me something or the other. And I realize, even before I make a decision, Amazon is making it for me. You bought this. People who bought something like this also bought this. The other day I went to Best Buy. I hope no one works for Best Buy here, but it's a very good store. I'm not saying anything about that. It's all over the place. I couldn't find the scanner I was looking for. And so this young, probably he's a student somewhere, came and asked me what I was looking for. And I said, scanner, but you don't have the kind I want. Oh, you know what? And then he asked me for my telephone number. And then he gets in there and he says, I'll give you a link. You can purchase it online. I said, I don't want to fool around with fixing it and all that. Oh, it's so easy. So all I got was a link from going to Best Buy. So I went and bought it on Amazon for cheaper, because I didn't get that human interaction. All you get is a link. And then when I fixed the whole thing, was anyone applauding my efforts? No, it worked. I know that. But if a machine does something, believe me, it will be reinforced. Humans are getting disregarded in the process. Not all the processes yet, but relevance of humans is questionable in some areas. But machines are rewarded all the time. It's called reinforcement learning. I picked up that word from one of the books I was reading. If only we could reinforce our children the way we read, these machines are reinforced, you will get them compliant in 3 days, believe me, after birth. That's how often they are rewarded. It's also called machine learning. That was another concept that baffled me, and it's pretty recent. My friend who is a graduate of Stanford is working for Google, and she said, I'm doing machine learning. I thought, she won't tell me what she does, but she's helping something with the space. So I thought maybe they have new devices. Little did I know it was about AI. Machine learning is here to stay. It's a new skill. So who are the major players? We are here. The revolution has happened. We can't stop AI. By the way, I asked AI to show me the tug of war between technocrats and autocrats in a democracy, and that's what it gave me. I couldn't have produced that. Google couldn't have given that to me. It was customized for my prompt. I'm very thankful, by the way. But these are some of the things that they hold, that we are all depending on. Strikers in Amazon couldn't stop Amazon from doing what they do. And I'm not getting into that area in this presentation, but all of this matters to us. Research in MIT and other big universities feed Silicon Valley with the technocrats. They are only taught. I saw one of them on Bill Maher's show the other day. He taught like God, that his system could create the security system that is tight. And the US government depends on him. I forgot his name. I just started calling him God-like in my mind. So here we are. These are the major players. What is at stake? Some of you may have experienced this in within your family, your friends. Jobs suddenly disappear, and no one told you what kind of skills you need for the job that comes up. I know the economic growth and some areas are funded more so because I'm involved in biotech research, and no funding comes that way. Everything goes to technology and AI. Medical research is behind. Other countries, Germany has taken over many areas. We were in the forefront of all of this. Privacy is gone. I was telling you how Amazon knows. Actually, I saw on Instagram, I know it's an exaggeration or someone thought of it, but this guy's calling a pizza place. But just the phone number, the guy says, so you don't want mushroom this time? And the guy says, I didn't know I talked to you before. Oh yeah, you ordered 4 pizzas last time and you're asking for 3 large ones, but you don't want mushroom, and you live in this place, you seem to know everything. Even if that was an exaggeration, it is close to reality. Because that happened to me in Best Buy. I'm thankful a lot of times because I don't have to work as hard as I have to get that scan. So don't get me wrong, I'm thankful, but I'm also cautious. So where do you come in? See, you are all turned the other way in the previous slide. Look at that. I asked AI to generate that, and it gave me a beautiful thing. how we are caught between technocrats and autocratic. And we blame everything on capitalism. But anyways, if we don't get involved, and AI is very generous, it's an open system, just like a democracy. If you don't get involved, the ones who are up there are going to do their thing. Do you blame them? Because they're there, they have to do something. So educate yourself. I'm not saying you have to go get a PhD. The technocrats, we leave them to do the technical aspects of it, but the social, I've skipped that one, but the social bias and fairness is my area. The system that is providing all the data was already flawed. It's about empowered people, people who could go to college, have some money. Race and gender is not what I'm talking about. Marginalized people are everywhere. And that same system has gotten into AI and housing. Everything has been affected because people go there to find their information. So please engage yourself, participate in surveys. They even pay you for that. Get into research. There are beta versions of many of these things. Get in there and teach these technocrats how to formulate these AIs. They'll appreciate us. They ran with it because they got what they had, which is the database that was being fed by these systems that are already flawed. So support regulations, but don't buy products that are made unethically. You have to find out what is unethical, because we all have different value systems, and I'm not questioning that. But have a value system, and let your values get into AI so it can shape. So AI democratization of that word again. Okay, making AI and technology more human friendly. We can do that, it's in our hands. If you think about equity, equality, engagement, and excellence. Excellence is in our hands. All of that is in our hands. If you want a mediocrity, if you're looking for mediocrity, it's already there. If you want AI to move on, we have to clear up the unbiased data, make it transparent. To give them credit, it is transparent. We just haven't looked at it. And fair analysis and conclusion that would benefit all of us. It will. Assessment is my area. And one of my professors in SLU said, if you put garbage in, garbage out, that's what you get. Put the right data in. I'm not talking about one right thing. There are different perspectives to what truth is. Let all the perspectives get in. These are some of the things that really influenced me, and some of them I haven't read. The AI 2041, that sounds interesting to me. Maybe we can even change what they've written about 2041 over there if you all get involved. In our own little ways, you don't have to do a whole lot. Like I tell my students, give credit where it's due. I'm giving credit for AI. It was driven by both me and AI to get this presentation, but at no point I'm going to say, this is what AI wanted me to say. That picture I'm repeating, because that's the first thing I asked AI. Give me an image where there are diverse people around the table discussing a problem. And this is what it gave me. Does it represent all of us? Look at it. Someone tell me. I know you're shaking your head, but I don't see me, an older person there. Older people are missing. And there are many missing. But this is the best it could do. And why did I not ask for more and more? Because each time you write a prompt, 1,000 computers they get activated and they're working on your problem. It costs energy. And I'm not going to take up that time. My thing was democratization of AI. We all have to get involved. I will give credit for AI, but AI wasn't driving me. I was driving AI. But am I thankful to AI for this presentation? Absolutely. At the fingertips, I had what I wanted. I'd be Googling is a word, forever to get the image I wanted. By the way, that lamp thing was a Google stuff, and it took me hours to get those two things. And this was easier. So you need to drive AI, but mutual respect. AI cannot drive you. If you can remember that, we can respect each other and get the optimum results in our lives. And at this point, I'm going to say, questions, if you have for me, can come after Dr. Jerol Enoch presents his take on AI in the educational settings. And here's Dr. Jerol.
While I'm getting this started, if you want to know more about or want to participate in using an AI large language model that actually considers multiple voices, your choice is Claude. If you know Claude, you continue using it. If you don't know Claude, you can use it. It's C-L-A-U-D-E. And the reason why is because it uses a constitutional model, which no other large language model uses. And I'm not going to get into it, but if you're talking about democratization in AI, that's what that is. It's Claude. All right. So AI has lots of different understanding of what AI is. I'm going to talk about some definitions of what AI is and look at it in terms of AI in education. One of the things about AI is it's very, very broad. For example, narrow AI is like your thermostat. It's very specific, very thick, but it's also AI. So I'm doing a very narrow focus on what AI is. So in particular, I'm looking at AI in higher ed and how students are using AI. For my definition, oops. Why isn't it up there, Nick? Sorry, I'm going to let the computer specialist solve my issue. Thank you. This is when your brain stops functioning. Yeah. I can only do one thing. I can either present or fix. So for this particular moment, I'm looking at democratization of AI, and for my definition, I'm using AI is available to all users. So the democratization comes from the fact that you're not excluded from using it. You have access to it. It is available to you should you want to use it. there's no one telling you you can't use AI. So it has an inherent democratization feature built into it. There's no need for special training. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to pay for it. It's often free. There are different levels, models, of course, but if you said, I don't have access to it, then ask me, ask everyone on campus, you do have access to it, so you can participate. So you are empowered with the benefits and opportunities of everything that AI can provide to you. So if we look at some of these things, here, this is a quick quiz. Here are the logos of 6 major companies that are using chatbots. Does anybody know? Anybody want to chime in? You get a free prize of being able to use AI. Yes, which one?
The circle one and the bottom middle, that's Meta, right?
No, that's the balloon company. Yeah, no, it's Meta. Yes. You're exactly right. 100%. Bing, bing, bing. We got Meta. Yes.
Isn't the top right one, that one's the one on Google, I would say?
What's it called? What's it called? What's it called? No pressure. No pressure.
It starts with a G.
Yes. Giraffe.
Gemini?
Gemini.
Yeah.
Hey, that's exactly what it is. Thank you for. Yeah, you got one?
Besides that one, ChatGPT, the top left.
Yeah. Top left, ChatGPT. Top right, Gemini or Giraffe, whatever you want to call it. Middle, Meta. So these are large language models that you have available to you. These all have free versions. ChatGPT, Claude, and this is the one I was talking about. It has a constitutional model, which means that it took into account the voices. It did a survey prior to its launch. I was not asked, but many people were asked, what do you want to see in your large language model? How do you want it to function? And they used that data to build their company. That's Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, Meta, and Copilot. These are all different large language models, chatbots that you have access to. There are more. As a matter of fact, they're popping up every day. Grok is newish, and a lot of people are excited about it. Poe and You are aggregators, so these are different tools. As a matter of fact, I'll show you one in just a second. There's I don't want to close this down and open it back up again, but Andrea was sharing this link called, there's an AI for that. So you can just Google that. Google, there's an AI for that, and it will take you to a website of an aggregator that pulled all of the AI available to you, and in the top left, I'll show it to you in a second, but where you can find free AI tools that you can use. So there's tons of stuff out there. Any other things, uses for AI that you use? What do you use AI for? What do you use it? What tools do you use? Yeah, go ahead.
Lists.
Lists?
Just different things that I maybe need to do that day that I would just ask it to write down for me, and then.
You use one in particular, or just?
Typically ChatGPT, since I understand that the best is like more like a text kind of model where you just type in wherever you want at the bottom, and it pops up as if it was a text sent to you. Almost.
Should we do that? Sorry. Can everybody hear him? I don't know. I can hear you. I don't know if everybody else can hear you. I can use this one. Switch. I think this one's better for singing anyway. So my first number will be. Okay. Yeah. So there are lots and lots of tools. Anybody else want to talk about something that they use AI for you? Go ahead. Oh yeah, good. He has the microphone. That's perfect.
So I use AI to enhance my images. Whenever I finish working on them, I use AI to enhance all of them.
Yeah, image creation, image generation, image enhancement, image remodeling. Yeah, there's tons of tools out there. Do you pay for it or do you use a free version?
Free.
Of course, me too. That's probably, I expect that to be the answer to everything. Do you pay for it? No, I'm gonna pay for it. There is probably a better version of it somewhere that does more things, But what do I generally find is that the free version does what I need. Yeah. Anybody else? So let's look at some of the, speaking of that, do you use one of these? No? So there's tons of free tools for creating images. Let's say if you want to do video, all of these are free. Well, Sora's coming, but anyway, they're still free. Coding, these are all free. For creating audio, these are free. There's a free version, and then all of these have a new platform that you can pay for things, but they all have a free aspect to it. So that's kind of one of those things, the democratization of AI. Do you have access? Yes. Are they available? Yes. Do you know about all of them? Well, no, because there's probably like, last year there was 1. This year there's 100. There's, they're all competing for space and your attention. So I went looking to see, well, what are some studies? Are there any studies out there about what students are doing and how they're, see if this represents you and what is happening at SCC. But I found 2 studies, both done this year, about AI usage. This one is from the Digital Education Council, and I get the feeling, and I don't know if you think this way too, when you say AI, what do you, when someone says, do you use AI, and you say yes, what's your answer? I use, what do you say, ChatGPT? Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, ChatGPT probably covers AI. I'm using AI because I use ChatGPT. And that's not really, we just saw all these other tools, but seems to be a fairly consensus answer. Like, yeah, I use it. I use AI / ChatGPT, one and the same. That's represented there. That's the size of the bubble means who's, the number of people using that. So ChatGPT is the big one. Claude, the one I use, the one I love, not even up there. No one knows about it. Grammarly, anybody use Grammarly? Do you use the app or do you use the extension? Extension? Yeah. Put the extension in your Chrome browser and it checks all of the grammar for you, all of your spelling, everything. I mean, it's just, I've had it on as an extension for my Chrome browser for so long that I forget it's there. It's just now part of what I do. So AI is just a part of my existence, but I don't actively ask it to do anything. It just, every once in a while, I underline something and say, oh, that's not how you spell that. Okay, cool. Google Gemini, Copilot, Perplexity is a little bitty. I think people are maybe finding out more about Perplexity, mainly because Perplexity is up to date in terms of searches, and some of the other ones are not. When you use ChatGPT, anyway, we won't get into that. But if you're looking at the percentage of students using AI, 86%. According to this, 86%. If I had to just say, raise your hand if you have used AI in the past semester, spring or fall, or whatever, or for whatever reason, I have used AI to do something for a class. Raise your hand. Rose? Thank you for voting, though. I appreciate it. Anyway, raise your hand. Steve? I'm getting all the faculty raising their hands. I'm trying to get students to raise their hands. So, Steve encourages his students to use it. That's good. Okay. So we're going to ask the same question in a second. If you don't use it, why don't you use it? Because part of the democratization, according to this definition of AI, is it is available to you. You have access to use it. Frequency of students using it, of those using it, of the 86%, how often? And this was every week, 54% every week. 24% say they use it daily. That's not our crowd, I guess. If you're using AI, according to this study, what are you using it for? Searching for information, 70%. Grammar, that's probably your Grammarly check. Could be other services, but Grammarly seems to be the definition of those kind of checkers. summarizing, paraphrasing, and creating a first draft. This is a second study, and this gets into a little different things, but if we talk about generative AI, which is what we're talking about this moment, something to create images, text, music, videos, and audio. Among 14 to 22-year-olds, there were 1,274 people were participated in the survey, and 51% have used it, and 41% said they have never used an AI tool. So let's do it the other way. How many of you have never used an AI tool for any reason whatsoever? I don't use them. So you either use them or don't use them. You have to raise your hand for one of them. Yeah. I'm not going to turn you into a teacher. It's like
Yeah, but your teacher is here.
all right, Rose will leave the room and then we'll vote again. No, I've never used AI for any reason. Raise your hand. Never. Okay. All right, I get 2 people who have used it and 1 person who has not. And the other people are, you have thought about it? AI curious? No? Okay. So this just says, and it could be 8%, you fall in that category. I don't know, don't care. I don't use computers, I don't do it, I don't know anything about it. Don't know how. This is looking at students who have used it, what do you use it for? And they actually break it down by ethnicity or race ethnicity, saying if I use it to get information, brainstorm, help with schoolwork, make images, help with the jobs, write code. So this is like, how are you using it? If you're using it, how are you using it? And it could be that you're just using it to find, it's kind of like the natural transition seems to be, I've used Google forever. Google is not something I say, what is Google? I don't know what Google is. Most people, you don't have to tell them, do you know what Google is? That's like a given. No one says, I don't know what Google is. I've never heard of it. I've never used it. So we're maybe transitioning into that where you're saying AI is going to fall in that same category. But typically what you're doing with Google is you want information. You're not using it to make sounds. You don't tell Google, write a song for me. You would use Google to say, what do I need to write the song? And then you get to write the song. And that's what AI would help you for. So they're saying, of the population of people using it, what are they using it for? And the converse is also true here, that if you don't use it, if not, then why not? So for those people who don't use it or have not used it, do you fall into these categories? Does any of this make any sense? I don't think AI would help me in any way. I'm curious. I'm asking a general, honest question to everyone. If you don't use it, I don't know how to use the tools. I think teachers are assuming that it's cheating, so I don't want to use it. I didn't know the tools exist. I don't know what to look for, what to use. AI is not fun. I don't have access to AI tools. That's an interesting answer. Yes, Steve?
The inaccuracy bias is a thing. That's generally my concern. And I do use it, by the way, but
I've heard that AI tools are inaccurate or biased, and therefore
you could address that, yeah.
I'd like to, I'll just stick to my brain and what it tells me, or the research that I'm finding. Yeah, go ahead.
Or someone had a bad initial, first interaction with AI, like the first time they ever decided to use AI, they didn't have a good first experience with it, therefore they won't use it again because they don't think it's either helpful or they don't think it would be a need for them to use in whatever situation.
Yeah. That's probably true of a lot of things. A bad first experience, like I can imagine trying to use a tool that maybe is not for that reason, and you're like, it didn't do what I wanted to do, so I'm just gonna give up on that. Yeah.
So, two reasons. Large language models are obviously based off of huge data sets. They don't necessarily have, not that there are laws like dictating, but they've scraped a large amount of data from, people that were not compensated for that data being used to compile the models. I don't necessarily feel comfortable using that work with the way that it's being used generally to replace like human labor. So these models are benefiting from exploiting human labor, but they are then replacing human labor more, right? So it's stealing, I see it as stealing work in order to, generally make people who are doing those jobs redundant. And then the inaccuracy and bias thing is also incorrect, or just like things that are, you'll get a response and it'll look right, and then you'll just like look into it and you're like, none of this is quite right. Like correct me if I'm incorrect, but my understanding of like what AI is right now is that basically what it is it's predicting what will go next based on the likelihood of what is most likely to go next in the line. It's not like forming thoughts or doing
It's
reasoning
not a human.
rules, right? I don't think that would lend itself to like the sort of like creativity and new ideas that I think that you should be trying to formulate while you're in school. And then the third thing is like basically what are you getting out of your education if you're using AI to cheat? Like if you are using it to augment your like output or work, or if you're using, like let's say you're a VFX artist using AI to like track movement points on your models, like that's one thing. If you're a student using it to like summarize the philosophical text you're reading, like what are you getting out of that? Like all you're doing is robbing yourself of learning in that case. I don't think that you're...
Yeah, I had, there was one teacher who was, I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about like what, this teacher was saying, I don't want to use you to use AI, and so they said, okay, give us your reasons. The first one was, this class is designed to improve your skills. If you're not improving your skills, why are you in this class? That sounds like what you're saying. So yeah, I agree with that. Talking about ethics and academic honesty, it does not produce reliable results because it is biased. It's using other people's words for that. It has environmental impacts. That's water usage, electricity usage, and then one thing you're saying is OpenAI and other companies have exploited workers through this. So yes, I agree. There are good reasons why, if you say, no, I'm holding myself to a standard and I'm not going to use it because that's my standard. Great. Yeah, I think that's all part of the pros and cons of using that, which is a good discussion. And so one of the other studies was about why they were asking students why are they not using AI, or what do they think about AI? And one was, what's my place in the world with AI? Like, how do I fit in if AI can do everything? Is there a future for me? Is there a future using AI? How would I protect myself from and the content that I create, like you were saying? If I create content and it goes out there and it just gets scraped into this big bucket, then how can I protect myself from that usage? How do we trust anything we see or do or hear? And the last thing was how to protect my privacy. So yeah, there are good reasons for legitimate concerns about that, about using AI and what it means for you. So this was hopefully part of that conversation about the democracy means it's available to you. It doesn't mean that you have to use it. It means that you can play a role in the development of it, and you can figure out your own terms of what I'm afraid of, what I like, what I want to promote, what I want it to be more of. So if you feel like the privacy is a concern, then we need to be part of that conversation with AI companies saying, you need to do a better job of protecting my privacy or protecting my creativity. I want to use an AI that's not stealing from like somebody else. Yeah. So I don't know where you get your data from, and now because they're talking about this artificially created data where it's going to create its own data to feed it, I don't even want to think about that. But those are good conversations to have about our role and as a student and as an instructor and as an institution in the world of AI as it is. So yeah, that's what I had. Is there anything else we'd like to discuss or talk about or think about? Kara, I was just about to call on you. It's like, she's Rose, go ahead.
Jerol, do you have this PowerPoint online that you can access?
I'd be happy to
Send it to me?
send it to you or come to your class or have a conversation or whatever, yeah.
I would love to have it.
Yeah.
You always have information that I think is invaluable for students.
Rose,
Oh, and it's, you know, I've got a voice of carriers.
Rose, don't invite me to your college 101 because then, we'll just be doing the same conversation again, but yeah. Any students have anything that they consider? Because I mean, it's a big issue. This is your future. And how are you going to be a part of the pros and cons of the future? Yeah. How are you going to defend yourself or use it or not use it? Anyway. Yeah, go ahead.
I had like one last thing, and it was politics in AI.
Yeah.
How like say like one side of say like for example like someone was running and say they like formulated there's some way to use AI like hypothetically you're able to use AI to fake or fraud like your votes or something like that, or say like there's something that ended up happening with AI that was out of control and no one caught it because there wasn't any like laws or regulations against not doing that. I feel like if eventually once like laws and stuff like just stuff that restricts AI eventually starts to grow, I think the first laws that should be put in with AI should be political ones.
Yeah, well,
That's my opinion.
I agree with you. There's a long, big conversation. Is that at the local level? Is that at the state level? Is that at the federal level? Because trying to get a federal law passed about things tends to die. So you need to have it at the state level. And California tried to enact something, and the numbers of people who came out of the woodwork to say, pro and con on that, it was big. So. And Europe seems to be kind of ahead of the game on promoting, as a European Union, but that's not my area, so everything is just what I've read or heard about.
Russia?
Yes, I think it's legitimate.
Like, I mean, you don't want your country or even like the place you live in to be run by someone that has next to no knowledge about like anything that involves government, like politics or anything like that, only because they're only up there because of AI.
Yeah.
Say for example, like they just completely fraud it.
Well, the amount of phone farms that are going out where, it's like somebody will put something up about a political party and then the number of likes that it gets could be real people.
Totally inaccurate.
Could be real, or it could be just a phone farm.
Like X, for example, I can
Yeah.
get into like an entire but like I mean it's not even like it's like there's political rage baiting even now like on like Meta, Twitter, X or whatever you want to call it. It's all there to drive the like using AI to drive the person to sway side to side or using someone's face.
Yeah.
That's a massive other thing is if your face is in OpenAI, like that's a whole other, complete other like, problem. I mean, it's signing off rights to what AI cannot use your face for whatever things and stuff. All that.
I don't know if you've seen that where they have this report about they went and interviewed these attractive women who were voting for a particular cause, and they went and found them and interviewed them, and they were like, that's not me. I didn't do that. So anyway, but I don't want to talk too much about an area that I have interest in, but I'm not a specialist in. So But it's a legitimate concern. So we're talking about, the democratization, about being involved. We're talking about in terms of education. And then there's a lot more that we could talk about, like what does it mean to live in a society with AI, but we were trying to just focus on a couple of things. Anyway, thank you all for coming, and if you have anything else you want to talk about or whatever, we'd be happy to
I just
engage in that conversation. Oh.
You bring up a good point about regulations. This thing mushroomed so fast that regulators couldn't keep up with it. But I think the more people are aware of it, and I'm so glad you were bringing up some good points, that's what is important. Okay, now, it's not about which side of the politics you're on. It's about human beings. Yeah. Okay, so the more we get involved, I think all these differences will disappear, because we all want peace and harmony, right? Yeah, so, I want privacy. But at the same time, I want someone to help me make choices in the areas where I'm not so proficient. But all this is happening behind our back, for a long time. And suddenly we woke up and there were algorithms everywhere. And some of the algorithms, I support some of the publishers' work in terms of textbooks, because it's based on algorithms, or how students access and use the textbooks. And so I do, understand that part, but like anything else, even medications you take, it's introduced as a cure or a treatment for something, but there's always side effects. And some people use it for side effects. You can't control that. But again, the more conscious we become of both sides to any issue, whether it's AI or anything, then we can make the decision. And that's what you all are here for, I hope, because you're the future. You're here. And we let AI run its course before we started chasing it. So you have the opportunity to share it. So anyway, thank you so much.
Just the last thing is that I think one of the things when we started talking about AI, it was just like, wow, cool. There's a shiny factor. And then there's always the ugly underneath, the belly of the beast or whatever. So thank you for bringing up the exploitation and the environmental impact. I think a lot of people don't know about it, haven't thought about it. What's the environmental impact of AI? So there's a lot of, there's lots of factors to look at and think about. So I'd like to thank you for bringing this up. Anyway, thanks for all coming.
Thank you, Carlos.